Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Wrestling fans, welcome back to another edition of WPOV Global. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. With me, the gentleman himself, Elio Canella. Elio, say hi to the good folks.
How's it going, listeners?
Well, you know what? I've got to say, did it happen, Elio? Has the whole wrestling world changed? Did we wake up and it's a whole new era?
It seems like it's a new day.
Does it? Oh, no pancakes, my friend. No pancakes.
Minus the pancakes.
We're going to get into people today all about AEW, Double or Nothing.
Yep.
The short of it is, it was a very good show. Mm-hmm. The long of it is, I don't think the wrestling world has changed.
Although many people on the internet seem to think so with their opinions. So AEW is better. If you're a fan of AEW, you can't like WWE. If you're a fan of WWE, you can't be a fan of AEW.
Wow.
Everyone's just being acting like a child.
Yeah, we're going to get into a whole bunch of these Facebook comments over all about AEW. But first I got to ask, Elio, did you have a good week?
I did have a good week, yes.
You did have a good week.
I did have a good week.
I had an okay week. Just one of those days where it seems no matter what you do, the man's always going to swat you down. You know what I'm saying? So I guess there's always that. Did not do, you know what? I did a lot of bragging last week about beating everybody but Rick Serrano in the last pay-per-view points game. And with our inaugural one, there was only one contestant. The winner was the only person to score in the positive. We all had pretty crappy, a pretty crappy outing, all of us. And I got to say that I'm not surprised because, let's face it, there was a lot of stuff going in there. We just did not know a lot of these people going in. I mean, I'm sure as AEW gets its feet under itself and starts showing us a lot more character, we're probably going to learn a lot more of who these people are. But you know what? Let's go in. First of all, you know, the pay-per-view did happen this week. And I know me and you were almost to the point where we were just like, get this over with. I'm tired of people. I'm tired of everything. Like,
seriously.
You know, if Cody Rhodes farted, they were like, AEW releases fart album. Like, it was getting ridiculous.
You know?
And,
it was, like, seriously. Every time I opened my browser, whenever, it's always a comment about AEW or WWE. I'm like, oh, okay, just be over and done with. Let's go.
Well, you know what, folks? The AEW pay-per-view did happen this week. For all you people who shelled out your 50 hard-earned dollars, or what do we figure it was, 67 Canadian?
67 Canadian.
Or all of you people who went on illegal sites and streamed it for free, which probably at $50 or 67 Canadian was probably an option a lot of people actually did use. You know what? The pay-per-view, I'm going to have to give it a thumbs up overall. We're going to go over it, but let's a lot of fans wrote in and talked about it. You know, we sent out a question there. What do you grade the AEW Double or Nothing? And thoughts, okay? So me and Elio here are going to go over some of the thoughts that some of you fans had. The first one is a humongous one. I'm not going to read the entire thing.
Oh, it's a long paragraph.
But a very excited Antoine Hoffman said he thought it was refreshing and worth the cost of admission for those who attended and viewing for those who didn't. Ooh, I don't know if it was worth $50, my friend. Let's see. He said, tough matches, vignettes, run-ins that told stories, the blend of tradition, the cauldron of some predictability, and the element of surprise. The buy-in pre-show, which I saw later after the live event via YouTube. The play-by-play calling from Excalibur. I thought Excalibur was okay. Alex Marvez, I'm not sure if I really liked him all that much. JR, he was okay, as always.
Wasn't Alex Marvez a columnist or something? Or am I getting him mixed up with someone else?
I am not sure who he is, to be honest. Because
I recall a newsletter called Night Ritter or something like that.
Okay. Well, it said here, he said, the show definitely gets an A for me. He said, I got to catch that first hour, though. Oh, yeah, I can't say I've seen every event there is in wrestling history, so maybe I missed the following moment previously. But Jiminy tap dancing cricket, man. Never have I seen a brain buster off the top rope before.
Did you just say Jiminy tap dancing cricket?
Yes, he did. And then he ended up with a chat and a little emoticon of a poop.
Jeez.
So he was very excited. That brainbuster from the top rope made him poop himself. And you know what? Fans, it's got to be exciting if you poop yourself watching a wrestling match. Elio, have you ever pooped yourself watching a wrestling match?
Can't say I have, but I have been entertained by many matches.
Well, I got to say, this show is so exciting today. I'm pooping as we talk. No, I am not, but... All right. I want to read out the next comment from Ronald Phoenix Bedwell.
Okay, so Ronald Phoenix Bedwell says, I would give it a solid A++. Every match was good quality. Dustin, Cody was epic. Jericho Omega was awesome. Bucks Lucha Brothers was off the charts. The other matches were better than anything I have seen anywhere else in decades. A++. Looking forward to the next show. We'll probably watch the show again during the week.
So, I'm getting the feeling he liked it. Paul T. Phillips says, want the truth? I give it a solid A+. Amazing matches, action, actually kept you on the edge of your seat. The stars of AEW have outperformed anything that WWE's put out in the last 4 years. That was a hell of a pay-per-view. I can't wait for AE to come to TV weekly.
Oh boy, that should be interesting. Let's see. Lyle Roberts says, I'll give it an A-. Few things I didn't like. The overall quality of the matches was incredible.
Ooh, Steve Little said, I give it a B-. Was good, but a bit predictable, but still solid.
And then Jason Ramos gives it a B-. It has its great moments, but there is a lot of room for improvement.
Marquise Green sent out the very mysterious Moxley. Not sure if that's good, bad, or indifferent.
Nick May says, fantastic show. The ending to Cody versus Dustin got me teared up a bit, but it was a great show to say the least.
Ooh, we're definitely going to go into it and talk about why that show might have given that match itself might have given you a bit of a tear up. Kevin Dosh says a fucking A+.
Wow, not just an A+. Alexander Steele gave it a 15 out of 10.
And you know what? Chris Skull, who had to beat Kevin Dosh apparently, said A+++++. So I'm not sure what that means.
Kevin Schrenkheisen says, even though there are haters out there, that was an A+ show.
Daniel Armendariz, sorry if we mispronounce anyone's names, says, good show. Had some technical hiccups. Great first show.
NL Reed said, I had a blast. All the cards were A. Was not bored at all.
Wow. So you know what? From those comments alone, most of the people seem to really enjoy this show. Mm-hmm. It seemed very solid. Okay. Now, we also had another one that said top 3 matches for AEW's Double or Nothing. And it's kind of funny. I read through all these, and you're going to see sort of a pattern here. Okay. James Donnelly said top 3, Cody versus Dustin, Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, and Jericho versus Omega.
Okay, Tunku Amir says Orange Cassidy forever.
He's probably the only one who says that. Dallas Kanitsky says Cody versus Dustin, SCU versus Strong Hearts, Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara. Well, that's some interesting picks.
Andrew Teaster says last 3 that closed out the show.
All right. Travis Warner says the top 3 matches were the three main events. Ordering them is tough because each match's greatness was for distinctly different reasons.
Cody Herbert said 1 Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, Spot City. Cody versus Dustin, Alpha versus Omega.
Wow. Shazar Hani says Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, pretty amazing. Dustin versus Cody Rhodes, Lit. The Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers was good as well. You see a pattern emerging here.
I see a pattern. Mike Braddock says the last 3 matches, but I really enjoyed that 6-woman tag as well.
Paul T. Phillips says Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks, Cody versus Dustin, Kenny versus Chris. Wow. You know what? Looking at a lot of this, it seems that the three main matches were definitely the ones that, a few people like some other stuff on there, and we're going to get to this. We're going to go over the whole pay-per-view itself.
Okay.
But I would say from our fans listening, people really enjoyed this pay-per-view.
I found it refreshing change from the usual norm every week, WWE, Raw, and SmackDown.
You found it? Okay. I found it interesting. I found the wrestling really good.
Yep.
It makes me wonder going forward when the TV show comes, what is that going to be like?
TV is going to be a different story. I don't know. We have to see how that's going to work.
That's going to be a whole different beast. I mean, you're going to have to either be like Raw, where you're going to have stories and setups, or do you go the route like ROH, where it's just matches and you don't get that feel of the show? So I'm not sure what way. But we did see some stuff. Like, I mean, the Librarians thing, you remember that? That was kind of stupid in the beginning.
Did you see that one guy, Peter Avalon, the Librarian? That's who I was talking about on a previous episode. He wrestled under the name Noah Furnham in Impact Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now you know what? It was our inaugural POV game.
Yep.
For us, our points game.
Yes, it was.
Now I should have won just because I am that damn talented and good looking, but I'm gonna have to say my brother from another mother, from another show, Rick Serrano III. At least he's the only person, even more so than you, Elio, that I can stomach winning this thing.
Okay.
If it's not me, I don't mind that it's Rick Serrano III. If it had been you, I would have known you were cheating. If it was Tony, I would have known he just got really lucky. If it had been that sock puppet or sock rag, whatever that Miguel thing is, I know that there is something wrong going on.
Well, if it was me, you would have known I was cheating. I'm sure you're mistaken about that.
I don't know. You have a reputation of cheating on this game. Anyhow, now, folks, our inaugural one, we had for the first prize winner a $50 Amazon card. Mm-hmm. However, members of Wrestling POV family, the immediate 5 of us, are not eligible for that card. So not only does Rick Serrano win the first inaugural thing, and I believe he's now won every title. Yep. And I can live with that.
I can't think we can list all the names. He has like so many nicknames now. The first ever POV champion. The first ever. I don't know what else. Yeah.
You sound a little jealous there, Elio. And
I'm not jealous.
I'm feeling a little sorry for you, buddy. I'm sorry. Your day may come. Maybe you and that sock rag will cheat your way to another victory. Who knows? But I can handle Rick Serrano. Actually, but you know what? I gotta say this, okay?
We have two awards, not like...
I know.
Yep.
I'm getting there. I just wanted to say this, though. Rick Serrano III, including myself, was the only guy to have positive points in this game. Every single other competitor had a minus.
I had a minus. I think I had a minus. I think I had minus 16.
Yeah, and I had minus 20. But you know what? We have our own inaugural... It's not the Turd Award because this is our own thing. What we have is, we call it the Underachiever Beaver Award. That's right. It's all Canadian in our hearts. So you send it out. The Underachiever Beaver. And you know what? I'm not surprised. Mimi Goody winning the first one. Way to go, Mimi. I guess you know even less about independent wrestling than you do about WWE.
Oh.
So, I don't know. I'm wondering how many times Mimi's going to win it on our show. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, folks. I know that, and you know what? As much as I want to joke about and bug Mimi here, let's face facts. This was an extremely hard game this time because we don't know a lot of these guys. Yeah, we didn't know a lot of wrestlers going in here. There was so many variables that made it really hard. I mean, come on. The winner of the Battle Royal was a guy not even listed
I'm sorry,
in the thing.
Who won that battle royal again?
Hangman Page. Wasn't he
wasn't
even listed.
Oh, okay.
He was the wild card joker of the deck.
Oh, that's right. I heard that one day he came out. Right.
Yeah. So we're going to go over that in a few minutes. But
okay.
Congratulations. A big hurrah and thumbs up to Rick Serrano III. You know what? You're still my brother. You're proving it. Mimi Goody, well, I don't know if I can boo hard enough in Beaver language to show you your victory. But good luck. I hope you display it proudly for the month or 2 months or whenever our next game is going to happen. All right, let's talk about Oh, let's talk news first before we get too far in this AEW stuff. There was a few things. Two of the items is almost a bit about an AEW wrestler. Okay. And first of all, I want to get one thing out of the way. Is this one I find exciting for fans of Lucha Underground who have seen this guy. MLW has signed Flamita, who is a very good luchador wrestler from Mexico. Okay. He'll be finishing a tour up with Noah in Japan, and then he'll be out in MLW, and he'll be doing full-time stuff. Now, for fans who haven't seen him, you can get a glance of him, of course, on AAA and other Mexican outlets, but you can also get a good look at him on Lucha Underground. Really, really fun wrestler. Now, our AEW news connection here. Let's talk a little bit about Jon Moxley. Okay,
Jon Moxley. I was telling you off air, I ruined this for myself yesterday by clicking on a link, and now I know the news.
Okay, we'll get to that. Now, as much as AEW was annoyingly in the news all last week, it seems everywhere I turn, everyone's talking about Jon Moxley over and over. But let's face it, he's a big name guy going into a whole new world, and this brings just a wealth of cool matches that we're going to see. And the first one I want to talk about is his first appearance in New Japan Wrestling coming up. Okay. And now I'm going to let you explain to the fans what you mean by that, but I'm going to tell you that at the June 5th Best of Super Junior Finals on Wednesday, Jon Moxley will be fighting Juice Robinson. He'll challenge for the NJPW's United States belt. Now tell me explain to the fans why you were disappointed by spoilers here.
Okay, so I'm always going on about how I can't stand spoilers. I like being surprised. Yet yesterday I was down at the hospital. I had an appointment. So while I was down there, I had access to Wi-Fi. And a link came through on my phone, and I went and clicked on the link, and I ruined the mystery for myself, because apparently the video that's been haunting Juice Robinson for the past few weeks is none other than for the debut of Jon Moxley in NJPW.
And so he's been doing some sort of creepy stalker-like thing for Juice. Mm-hmm. Interesting. I hope that goes over a little better than Barry Windham being the
that was terrible. Or DDP stalking the Undertaker's wife.
You know what? Stalker angles do not seem to turn out so good. At least in North America. Maybe it's a whole different story in Japan.
Actually, I read a comment online. I think it was the other day. Mm-hmm. They were saying Jon Moxley is just Kurt Angle. Kenny Omega is a Samoa Joe, and it's the same thing all over again.
No, I don't believe that.
That's just weird.
That's just somebody being a hater out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hater alert.
Yeah. Now, moving on to my next bit of Jon Moxley news, and this one I'm actually rather excited for. Okay. They just announced the signing of the first ever Jon Moxley versus Pentagon Jr.
Yes, August 16th.
Yep, August 16th, August 16th in, where are we at? Six Flags? Jackson, New Jersey. Well, that's interesting.
I didn't catch what promotion, because I know it's not AEW. Must be one of those smaller ones.
It's Northeast Wrestling. Okay, so yeah, it will be a smaller, but that's still pretty darn cool. Mm-hmm. And actually looking at the event, it's actually Saturday the 15th.
Oh, okay.
Wow. You know, you might be right here. Somebody who, the news piece I was reading off, it says the 15th, but we'll go with that for now. Okay?
All right.
So, there's that. We have some signings. Now, I believe you had also one piece of interesting news related to AEW.
I did, regarding Pac versus Adam Page. According to Cody Rhodes, he said that the Pac-Adam Page match was pulled because they wanted to give the fans something and still have that match, which is the reason for putting it out for free, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Pac is out of AEW.
Wow, that I hate to sound jaded, but that almost sounds like like they're just trying to do fire control here. You know what I mean?
And I do have another one for ROH actually. I'm not sure what to think about this one, but it says apparently ROH has yet to sign Jonathan Gresham to a contract since April. He's still training in the ROH dojo.
That's interesting news, huh?
Because we just reported that Jordan Grace had just signed with Impact.
Yeah, who's actually going to be married to Jonathan Gresham.
Wow.
Couples who stay together don't sign contracts together, I guess. All right. Now, you know what? That's our news for the week.
And they get thrown into major storylines.
Yeah. Yikes. And Impact wonders why it's failing so bad at times. Huh? All right. You know what, folks? Let's take a look at AEW's. We're going to talk about the inaugural Double or Nothing here.
Okay.
Okay, we start off with some little skits going on, and I like to say about. Let's just go. I'm not the biggest on some skits. Skits sometimes make me kind of cringe.
Yeah, but some skits are just like don't work.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff like some guy asking the guy who owns one of the owners of the company if he has clearance to be back there, which is pretty ridiculous. But he gets a super kick. There had been like some ongoing little goofy story where there's this guy.
Was that the intro? Was that the intro to the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Where Michael Nakazawa approached Mad. He's like, and Mad's acting like, "Oh, hi, what's your name?" Like, my name is Michael Nakazawa.
Now, the joking behind that is, they've done some of these All Elite videos where Nick was having nightmares that he had to towel off Nakazawa because of this whole gimmick of him pouring baby oil on himself.
So that's who you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah. So okay, let's go through the thing. First of all, a battle royal. Now the battle royal. Wow, talk about convoluted. Basically they take 20 guys, and there ended up being 21 or 22. They take 20 guys, and they had them each pick a card, like an ace, or had them pick like a heart, the playing decks, right?
Yeah.
And then what they did is first they called everybody who's the spades started off, so 5 wrestlers in.
Oh.
Then 3 minutes after that, they bring in the diamonds, and 3 minutes after that, the hearts, and then 3 minutes after that, the clubs. So
okay.
It was this weird way of bringing people into the ring. The first 5 guys that came in, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who actually was really good in this tournament, in this match. He was such a douche. He made it to the very final. Guy named Dustin Thomas. Now, the only reason you're going to remember Dustin Thomas is the dude has no legs. They had a guy in there with no legs wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
they
right.
had some guy called Sunny Days who was like this big kind of overweight dude with his face painted yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they had Michael Nakazawa, who did in the middle of the match, started oiling himself down to get out of holds.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Brandon Cutler, who was actually pretty... he did really well in this match. The match goes on. The 5 of these guys do all their sorts of things. The next 5 that came in were Brian Pillman Jr., whose hair was so blonde dyed, I almost didn't recognize him.
Oh, you mean he must have dyed that recently then?
Yeah. But when he came out, Isaiah Cassidy was walking in front of him, and he ambushed Cassidy, threw him off the ramp into the railings.
Oh wow!
Jimmy Havoc and Joey Janela grabbed him and gave him a double suplex onto the metal rail, the metal walkway, and then they hopped in the ring, and then Sean Spears came out, and Sean Spears looked a little different. He had really strange green contacts in, and he was all dressed in green, but he came in there and did some pretty cool moves.
Okay.
Some of the dumb stuff that happened in here around this point is Jimmy Havoc. For some reason, Joey Janela whips out a cigarette, lights it up, and starts smoking.
I saw that. I was like, what's going on?
Well, then Jimmy Havoc takes the lit cigarette and puts it into Janela's forehead.
Oh, yeah, I saw that spot.
Then the next group came in was Billy Gunn, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but apparently they went and they dug up Glacier out of somewhere. I mean, that guy's got to be 110.
Jeez, Glacier. How long has it been since we've seen him?
Yeah, no kidding. Jungle Boy, who, man, he looks like Marco Stunt's just slightly bigger older brother. Ace Romero. You always know there's got to be a super fat guy in a battle royal.
Yep.
And Mark Queen, who is Isaiah Kennedy's tag team partner. So when they got in there, they started doing a lot of double team moves on people. Mm-hmm. Then the last set of people we had Marco Stunt, Luchasaurus, who I gotta say, I really enjoy Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus did pretty good in this battle. He lasted long.
And then Elio Canella's I'm going to guarantee is going to be his all-time favorite wrestler, Sonny Kiss.
I'm sure he was taken.
I'm not exactly sure how to describe Sonny Kiss.
I don't know why. I'm trying to figure
a guy
it out.
who definitely wants to be a girl? I'm not sure. We talked about this on Mexican wrestling before, where they'd always have sort of like a man wrestler, a woman wrestler, and a kind of an in-between wrestler. Mm-hmm. That was Sonny Kiss. Okay. Sonny Kiss was one of those guys you see down in and I believe Sonny Kiss actually does a lot of these matches down in Mexico, where he plays the ambiguous sexual character. You're not sure if it's a guy or girl, and they play off that. Orange Cassidy. Okay, I've always heard this guy's name. He came in, okay.
I'm sorry, were there two guys with the name Cassidy?
Yeah, there was actually. There was pretty close to it.
Okay.
Let me go back. There's a guy named Isaiah Cassidy, who was one of the black fellas who was in the what did they call themselves? Him and Mark Quinn are like Party All Night or something they're called.
Okay. No, that's why I was asking, because you mentioned Isaiah Cassidy. Okay.
Okay. Orange Cassidy's a totally different wrestler.
Okay.
When he came in, he comes in, no shirt, he's wearing blue jeans. He goes up to Tommy Dreamer. He's got his hands in his pocket, and then he pretends to kick Tommy Dreamer like really lightly, like tap.
Oh, I saw this guy. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
So then Tommy Dreamer slugs him. He falls down. He does a kip up with his hands still in his pockets, which was pretty amazing.
Yep.
And I guess his character is just like this totally laid back, lazy dude. I guess laziness is a thing. Okay.
He sure did take a nice tumble outside of the ring to get eliminated.
Yes. Well, he had his hands in his pocket, so he went pretty hard. And the last person on the fourth group was Tommy Dreamer. Oh God. Boy. Can we not escape this man? He is like, every time there's something good, he's got to come in and ruin it.
Oh, man.
So yeah, Tommy Dreamer and his lame old ass was in there, hitting people with garbage can lids and just being an action.
Stop with all these garbage cans. Like, this isn't ECW. It's not the 90s, you know.
I did get a kick out of when Sonny Kiss did this move where he was on the ropes and he grabbed Dreamer by his like legs and then started like pumping Dreamer's face into Kiss's ass, which was pretty funny.
Oh boy.
And in when we have those things where we get stuff like weird when the world goes bizarro, like when Sami Callihan tries to be a good guy.
Yep.
Then you get weird stuff like Tommy Dreamer and Jimmy Havoc fighting, and I'm thinking, can't they kill each other? But it did make me feel, you know what? Jimmy Havoc got a little bit of a little love from me because he actually took a staple gun out, stapled Dreamer in the forehead, and then stapled him in the nuts, and then threw him over.
Nice.
So, you know what? The thought that maybe Tommy Dreamer won't procreate anymore, that makes me a little bit happy. Then, of course...
Maybe he's trying to get out of the book.
I don't know. He's going to have to do a lot more worse things to Dreamer and to Sami Callihan. And then I'm willing to think of taking him out of the book. All right. So, lots of crazy stuff going on. The wild card, which was, okay, they had one wrestler who was called the wild card, and he was to come out very last, number 21, and that was Adam Page.
Okay.
And Adam Page comes out, and he's still really selling his knee, being, in bad shape. They get down to the last four guys, which ends up being like MJF, Luchasaurus, who is it? Luchasaurus, MJF, Jimmy Havoc, and Adam Page.
Yep.
They do the thing where they all attack MJF, and then he rolls out of the ring, and so people don't realize, he's not actually eliminated.
Right.
So the other three guys go at it. They all come down to Adam Page at the end. Adam Page is celebrating. MJF runs in, grabs him, hucks him over the top rope. Or no, he hucks him over the top rope, but Adam Page doesn't hit the floor. He lands on the apron.
Okay.
MJF turns around and he's celebrating. And of course, you know what's going to happen next is the buckshot lariat, where Page flips over the rope and does his his clothesline.
Yep.
Just murders MJF, hucks him over the top rope, and Adam Page wins this. Now, what this means is Adam Page will be the first person to fight the winner of the Chris Jericho Kenny Omega match later to determine the first AEW champion.
Okay.
Then a match that neither of us could guess because we had no idea really who this other guy was.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Sammy Guevara. We've seen him a few times in MLW.
MLW, yes.
Kip Sabian, I had no idea who he was. This match was okay. I found it a little generic. I found Kip Sabian a little generic looking. Even now I can't really remember what he looked like. I mean, if he walked in here right now, I would be like, "Hey, who are you?" You know?
Exactly. Yeah. There's nothing really about him that stands out.
No. Sammy Guevara even is probably the most palest, whitest luchador I've seen in a long time.
Okay, did he always wear that panda hat out to the ring?
I've never seen the panda hat before.
I was like, okay, do I have a nomination for the bug this week?
Oh, you may. I guess it's up to you. Then we had I'm going to skip the little setup junk, and we'll go right into the matches, okay?
Okay.
Now, the first match, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, Scorpio Sky, known as SCU, taking on a team I'm sure you've never seen these guys before, except maybe SEMA, Strong Hearts. I have T-Hawk and Lindemann. Even from those names, I would never have guessed that they were Chinese wrestlers.
Nope, I never
T-Hawk
heard
and
of
Lindemann.
them. I've only heard SEMA, that's about it.
Apparently, these guys are imports right from China, and the burgeoning Chinese wrestling scene out there. So it was a good match, but I mean, SCU, man, people love them, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian will go on about how, this is the worst town they've ever been in and all that junk, and the fans love it.
Yeah.
And interesting match. It was fun. Lots of hard-hitting stuff. A very good pace. And things that stick in my mind is like, you watch Frankie Kazarian, and it's hard to believe that this guy's been wrestling for over 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wrestles like he's like 20 years old right now.
Yep.
Scorpio Sky, that guy's amazing. And Christopher Daniels, I mean, they're such a great team. I got to say, the Strong Hearts were okay. SEMA, looking cool as ever. And like I said, this is the first time I've seen T-Hawk and Lindemann, and they were okay, But the winners end up being SCU. The next match, Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray. Now, they're just about to get this started. And Brandy Rhodes comes out. And she's all dressed in her gear. And she's a very attractive woman, by the way.
Yep.
She comes out dressed in all her gear. Everyone's like, oh, is she going to wrestle? Blah, blah. She's like, I said this was going to be a great match, but I decided I want this match to be awesome. And then she brings out Awesome Kong, who we haven't seen forever.
Right. Yeah. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that.
Not expecting that.
I figured that Brandy Rhodes is going to be insert herself into this match. It's going to be a 4-way.
Yeah, I thought so too. Now, this is one of the matches that I ended up picking Britt Baker to do the pin. I don't know if I'd known Awesome Kong, that might have I might have actually picked Awesome Kong, I think. My impressions, Britt Baker, she's a bit generic. She calls herself Dr. Britt Baker, and but looking at her, she's a little bit generic. I mean, there's nothing that stands out about her. Kylie Ray, she's like Bailey and who's that other girl? The one who does all the kicks in NXT, the New Zealander. It's like they took those two girls together. That's who she looks like to me. You know who I'm thinking about. It'll come to me. Anyways, she's like all happy like Bailey. She's got like these emoticon things. She's smiley, Kaylee, and she did okay. Nyla Rose kind of scares me, just in the sense, and I don't mean it because she is an openly transgender wrestler. She is a man transitioning to a woman.
Oh, okay.
But she scares me in the fact is her size and build. She really looks like she has the build of a man, which is kind of unfair in some ways, She's just big. I mean, she made Awesome Kong seem a little small. And Awesome Kong, big and scary as ever. Her and Nyla Rose just doing power stuff, they end up taking each other out pretty much. Comes down to Britt Baker taking the win over Kylie Ray. I kind of dug Kylie Ray a lot. I know Britt Baker is a very good wrestler. I just wish she could do something a little more to make her stand out. She's very forgettable to me. Yep. And I remember Kylie Ray a lot more just because of the way she dresses and the way she acts.
Yep.
Okay, match number 3. We had the Best Friends, who we've talked about a lot, Chuck Taylor and Trent.
Best Friends.
best friend, taking on Angelico and Jack Evans. Okay. Now, I knew going in this was going to be some crazy stuff. I mean, I've seen Jack Evans quite a bit. His career is based on improbable, almost impossible aerial maneuvers. And Angelico himself is a very strong luchador. And we know the best friends, they're more grounded in their attacks, but they can do the occasional flying thing. This match went really good. I thought maybe as it was going on that Angelico and Jack Evans might slip in a win there. But in the end, best friends, they hit a doomsday knee on Evans, and that was it, man.
Yeah, they saved me in the points game.
Then they did this thing, which is just definitely like set up. The lights go out, and if you're familiar with Canadian wrestling, I mean, a lot of people might not know who these guys are. The Super Smash Brothers show up in the ring. Some guys who wrestle a lot in Toronto. The lights go out, they go back on, and they're like beating the crap out of everybody.
Actually, I read a piece of news. I'm not sure about this one though, but apparently they're supposed to be. They may change the Super Smash Brothers names.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're going to change their names. Because they never mentioned what the names were.
Yeah, because apparently it's owned by Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh, it totally is. Yep. It totally is. I mean, that's one of those names where you can be like on a small independent level and you can get away with that. But
yeah, so
when you're on a national TV.
So they don't want to have to deal with Nintendo, so.
Yeah. So match number 4 was a very interesting women's match. The team of Hikaru Shida, Raiho Abi, and Ryo Mizunami taking on Aja Kong, Yuko Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura. Now, I thought maybe Aja Kong's team would, get sort of the kind of the, what would you say, like the win for just being, the like nostalgia thing.
Me too. I was rather disappointed.
This did not turn out to be a nostalgic match. It turned out to be a pretty heavy, hard-hitting match. Very Japanese women's wrestling. And in the end, Hikaru Shida, Ryo Abe, and Ryo Mizunami actually take the win. So, interesting match so far. And this is what kind of made this, so far, we've seen all these different kinds of styles and different kinds of matches. And that's what really made this interesting. And then the next match itself was really, really good. Cody versus Dustin Rhodes. Brother versus brother. Now, they touted this as not being brother versus brother, but more generation versus generation, because there's at least 15 years between Cody and Dustin in age. The match, really old school fight. I know some people were a little bit shocked at the fact that Dustin, bladed himself, and there was a lot of blood in this match.
Oh my god, there was a lot of blood in this one.
Yeah. A lot, and I know a lot in this day and age. You kind of wonder if that's a smart way to go. That might turn off more people than make excited. Mm-hmm. In the end, Cody wins, and then as he basically tells Dustin, he says, I have a match coming up with the Young Bucks, and I need a partner, and I don't need a friend or a buddy. I need a brother, and then so Dustin agrees to team with him. So they'll be coming up pretty soon. The Rhodes brothers versus the Young Bucks. So it should be interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay. That should be interesting.
All right. Then they had a little belt presentation where Bret Hart came out. And that
was MJF, another surprise.
Yeah, no kidding. MJF came out and he talked on about how great he is. And a lot of.
Here we go.
And Jimmy Havoc and Jungle Boy came out and pretty much beat the crap out of him and sent him on his way. Our sixth match, the Triple A Tag Team Titles Championship, the Young Bucks putting their belts up against the Lucha Brothers. Now, this one is where I lost a lot of points. I thought for sure the Lucha Brothers were going to win this.
So did I.
Take their belts back to Mexico. But nope, the Young Bucks. This was one of those Young Bucks type matches, man, where it's like 25 minutes of balls to the wall movement.
Yep.
It was fun. It was something new on the card again. I'm sure if we had every match looking like this, we probably wouldn't enjoy it. But this was a pretty good match.
It was a good match, yes.
And then, finally, the main event. Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. Winner will get to wrestle for the AEW Championship against Adam Page down the road. Mm-hmm. Now, once again, this is a match where I thought Kenny Omega was going to go over. I thought Chris Jericho was there to sell some tickets. So I was surprised. But There was a very good match. Not as good as some of the times I've seen them wrestle on New Japan. I've seen both these guys have tremendous matches with other people and with each other, but it was a solid match. In the end, Jericho gets the win, so it looks like we got Chris Jericho versus Adam Page down the road. Now, folks, this was a good pay-per-view. I don't know if it could live up. I don't think anything could have lived up to the hype it had. I mean, there was a ridiculous amount of hype for this. But it was solid. I don't know if it changed anything in regards to the world of professional wrestling like a lot of people thought it would. But I guess time will tell, right?
Yep. Yep.
And my new next concern is the TV. What is the show going to be like?
That's gonna be so hard. I want to see how they're gonna write TV every week.
Yeah, me too. Very interested. So, folks, that was the AEW Double or Nothing. The first time, I guess they hit it out of the park. But I do have to say, on one little side note here, I do not think that or any pay-per-view is worth $50. 67 Canadian.
Well, they have another one. They have a smaller one in June, and they have their next one in July before their All Out event. There's one called Fighter Fest, and then there's Fight for the Fallen.
Well, we're going to obviously we'll be keeping track of those, seeing what's going to happen. But folks, that was your AEW wrap up for the first pay-per-view. Now, you know what? We're going to take a little break here because we're going to go to an interview I did. I recently, last week, had a chance to sit down with Ricky Mandel. You know him as Ricky Mundo in Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, Elio, I had a lot of fun with this interview.
You were saying this was quite a long interview, but he was a cool guy.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know the guy that much. I saw some of his work. I didn't know him personally, so I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. I get in there and I figure, okay, maybe we'll rattle off 20 minutes, see if I can stretch it out a bit.
Sure.
He gave me 40 solid minutes where I had to stop talking because I realized we could talk on and on and on and on. It was that interesting. So, fans, we're going to play for you the first 20 minutes, part one of my interview. Next week, we'll play part two. And you know what? Let's go to that interview right now.
Let's do it.
Hey, folks. Welcome to exclusive at WPOV Global. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. On the phone right now, I got to say, I'm excited, and if you had told me months ago when I first started the show, I might not have been excited to talk to a guy that involved with Lucha Underground, but I have watched Lucha Underground now, and I kind of see, well, okay, let's face it, I kind of like it a lot, what I've been seeing. And I'm talking to Ricky Mandel, who you also know as Ricky Mundo. Ricky, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Now, you know what, Ricky? One of the things when it comes to professional wrestlers, I don't care if you're the guy who's having his first match or you're like the biggest multi-time world champion. I want to know what got you started, man. I mean, it takes a lot of training and guts and a thing for pain to get in the ring to do what you guys do.
Absolutely. Well, it all started when I was, I'd like to say it started when I was 11, because that's when I actually started getting really into wrestling, specifically WWF and a little bit of WCW at the time. But it actually started before then, not as a fan, but as a kid who looked up to his dad, who liked wrestling. Mm-hmm. I didn't know much about it. All I knew is, hey, Dad likes it. It must be cool, type of deal.
Yeah.
So I remember at times he would be watching it, and I would, go over and talk to him. He'd show me he'd talk about certain guys, specifically like Jake the Snake, because hey, here comes this guy with this huge snake who beats people up, and then he throws it on them, or like Ultimate Warrior, or Hogan, or Demolition, all these over-the-top characters that he thought I would like. So as a little kid, I actually, like I said, didn't know much about it. All I knew was Dad liked it, and it was fun. Fast forwarding years later, me and my family had moved from Illinois to California, and about a year later, I went back to visit my family, and in doing so, it turned out that one of my neighbors was this avid WWF fan. So he took me to a show, and once again, I'm like, the only thing I knew about it was, who my dad talked about, like Hogan and all those guys. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, like, okay, cool, we're gonna go watch the show, but really, I want to go hang out with my buddy who I hadn't seen in a year. So what happens is we go to the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, and I just fell in love with it from then on.
Now, was there one guy in particular that was there a guy who just did it for you for wrestling, like when you were that age?
You know, in all honesty, I wish I could say there was one guy. You know, so many wrestlers, and they talk about, oh, this guy did it for me, or that guy did it for me, and like I would almost, like, growing up, I tried to be like, oh, who did it for me? Who did it? And honestly, like, just being honest with myself, I mean, I don't really have one guy. Oh. I think it was just everything about it. I mean, there were just so many over-the-top characters, and just, like, you know, just everything that went involved with it, just being entertainment. You know, there were storylines, and I mean, that's kind of where I fall into. I really love. I love a good story personally. That's what brought me to wrestling is the storytelling. Almost like similar to what you had with your Power Rangers or your Ninja Turtles or your Ghostbusters. People were fighting good versus evil characters with story involved. So that was kind of my niche into what drew me to wrestling.
I get that. So what I want to know right now then is as you're obviously now a wrestler and you go out there and you perform and you become a character, are you that guy at home or are you like a really quiet guy? Because that always fascinates me too.
It depends. To be honest with you, it really depends on my level of comfort with who I'm around. Because some people, you know, I mean, just like anything, you adapt to certain people, like, right off the bat. You just know, like, hey, I could talk to this guy about anything. Or there's people where you're like, I'm shy around this person. I don't know. Like, so it really all depends. But for the most part, once I'm in my comfort zone, I'm kind of a goof off, kind of a loudmouth. But in a funny way. I don't really, not like that obnoxious, annoying guy. But, you know, I think it was because I was so shy as a kid that after I broke out of that, I just decided to be like, you know what? Who cares? If something's funny, I'm going to say it. And at the very least, I'm going to make myself laugh.
Well, I got to tell you, fans, one of the things I usually do before we started this interview, I always do like a 2 or 3 minute preamble with the guest beforehand. And usually in that 2 or 3 minutes, I can kind of determine if this guy's kind of a douche or if this guy's stuck on himself or this is, a guy I can talk to. And I was so happy that I got the feeling right away, like, okay, I can talk to this guy. We can talk some wrestling and have some fun. So I got to admit, I'm thankful for that. Now, thank you. You're welcome. Well, so you're watching the wrestling. It's catching your imagination. You're thinking, and obviously, it sounds like you really are more for the storylines. Although there's a lot of athleticism. How hard was it to get into the athleticism side of this?
Well, like you're not going to see me doing like backflips. I'm not that athletic. I'm not that guy. But I grew up playing sports, mostly basketball. But a lot of them were on the streets with the neighbors, and I mean, we had our hands in everything. You know, it wasn't like we can only do this. One day we'd be, hey, let's go out and play baseball. Hey, let's go out and play football. Hey, let's go out and play just tag or something. And then, you know, I got into high school where we had the opportunity to do just, you know, the track and all that good stuff. So, I mean, I've always been wanting to stay active. So when it came to, but I mean, obviously wrestling's a totally different game when it comes to, I mean, you could go out and run 5 miles and then go in the ring for 3 minutes and it's like, man, that's different. That's insane, you know? Yeah. And, you know, trust me, I've been on both ends, and there's different, you know, people always ask, like, what do you do for your training? And I'm like, well, like, I'll go to the gym and I'll lift weights, but then I'll do like fat burning cardio, or I'll do endurance training, and then there's like going to finding, you know, your local wrestling school and you know, doing that type of wrestling endurance training. So I'm trying, you know, you're trying to be all over the place.
Okay. Well, speaking of wrestling schools, where did you get started? What finally got you, like, where did you start off, and how was the training?
Oh, UPW, Ultimate Pro Wrestling, in El Segundo, California.
Okay.
Known for, I mean, that's where I know for sure Cena went there. I know Miz had a hand in going there for a little bit. I mean, these guys were all way before my time, but I was trained by Shannon and Shane Ballard. I don't know if you remember Aaron Aguilera, who was Carlito's bodyguard for a short bit.
Yep.
And then Ryan Sakota, part of the tag team with Keo and Sakota, he was Tajiri, I believe.
Sorry, we're losing you right now. Your gun really a little bit scattered on the sound. Sorry. Could you repeat that one more time? It just kind of cut right out.
Sure. From where?
After the bodyguard for you start talking about a guy and the phone just went a little nuts.
Okay, cool. There was Ryan Sakota who was with the tag team Akio and Sakota, and they were with Tajiri when they debuted.
Okay.
So those were my initial trainers, and everything was great because I had a different experience from everybody. Because Aaron was very big on cardio and just drilling us into the mat. You're gonna do these squats and you're gonna basically kick your ass. And then Sakota was very good about just breaking down the business aspects of wrestling. And then the Ballards were just there for, everything else. They were, if it wasn't for those guys, I don't know where I would have been, because they were so patient and just don't take my kindness for weakness, which I didn't, but just, so great at breaking things down and teaching.
That's awesome.
So, I will tell this to anybody, I had a phenomenal wrestling education, which, I feel is kind of rare.
Well, throw it out one more time. You love it, so throw it out. Where was it, so people clearly know where you trained at?
UPW, Ultimate Pro Wrestling.
Okay, and they could probably find those folks probably on Facebook and other things. It's good to hear legit training.
UPW went under.
Oh, no.
UPW's gone, yeah.
Okay. Folks, don't look for them on Facebook. I've misled you.
Yeah. You could go and look, and if you find something, then you might want to consider a job in being a pirate, because you're going to find some lost treasure somewhere. But
So how old were you when you finished all your training? And you got your first match?
I started when I was 18, and I've always trained, but I guess that program would have been when I was about 20. Yeah, that program would have been about 20 years old.
Okay. So, do you remember the first match you've ever had, and that feeling of going in there and this is it, this is do or die?
That match kind of caught me off guard, because what happened was one of my friends who I was training with, this was about 8 months into my training, and he was working, they had these shows at this marketplace every Sunday, and he was wrestling, trying to, get his feet wet and just learning, and just trying to get his name out there. Is Hector Canales. I'm going to help him out right now. And good friend of mine, still very close to this day. Hell of a YouTube channel, by the way. But he called me randomly and was like, "Hey, I just spoke to Shannon Ballard, who was one of our trainers, and he's like, he gave me the green light on this and said, you're ready, but basically, I need a match for this Sunday. Would you be, interested in coming down and wrestling at the marketplace in Anaheim for WPW?" And of course, I'm not going to say no, but at the same time, it's like, oh my God, this is it. This is like my first match is coming up, So it was multiple emotions: nervous, excited, scared, but ready. I don't know how to say that. It's like you're never really ready, but
confident
as ready
enough
as you're gonna be.
Yeah. Did you
win?
win?
I did.
Oh, why?
I did win. It was first match. 2 out of 3 falls. Welcome to the business, kid.
Did they pay in hot dogs?
Yep. No. I think he might have. I don't even think I got that. Those times have changed.
I remember interviewing Scorpio Sky and him telling him how they used to pay him. He said, so many times I was paid in Tostados, it's unbelievable in Southern California.
Yeah, he got that?
Yeah.
He got that? Who is he going through?
Oh man.
I got like a Gatorade once, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I don't even drink Gatorade, so I was like, okay, well, thanks.
Well,
But, you know, it was. I mean, at those times, a lot of it was I was just happy to have an opportunity.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do anything.
I mean, we joke about those sort of things, but I mean, you're not going to get experience unless sometimes you're willing to take the crap for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start wrestling. Now I noticed you wrestle a lot in the California scene.
Yes.
What's that like these days?
These days I'm not 100% sure because I actually just moved to Vegas.
Okay.
So I've been wrestling a lot out here more.
Mm-hmm.
Like out here and in Arizona and such. But California, when I left, I mean, it was popping.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it still is to this day. I still have a lot of friends who are constantly doing those shows and, you know, just making their way out there. But, I mean, right now, I got a good thing with a new promotion. Well, not new, but somebody just, Brandon Carr just bought it out, is Maverick Pro.
Okay.
He's changing things around out there. So I'm working out there with him again.
All right. Well,
and
tell me about
that's
this promotion.
always great.
Tell me the guys in there. What have people who are seeing Maverick for the first time? What kind of wrestling is this?
A little bit of everything.
Okay.
You're going to have a little bit of everything, and this is something that we talked about. I talked about with Brandon when I was coming in. We just sat down and just shot for a couple hours about what he wanted and about what he expected, and it was just like he wants to run it like an entertainment, almost like the circus. You know, you have a little bit of everything for everybody.
Which is a solid
And,
indie show, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just my kind of wrestling, personally. That's the type of show, like, I prefer to watch. I can't sit down and just watch, like, one type of anything. It's like going to a buffet and just, here's steak. Like, steak's great.
Yeah. But not 13 of them.
You know, there's multiple things. You know, I want this, I'll have some of this, I'll have some of this. And then that's how, in my mind, and I'm sure other people would agree, and some might disagree, and that's fine.
No,
But that's what makes wrestling, entertainment.
I got to admit that too. I mean, for every person who will take apart a comedy match or a certain type of match, think about that when you go to a 4.5 hour event. If you want to sit there and watch the same type of thing for 4.5 hours, I can't even watch most movies after 2 hours. So I don't care how good it is.
Well, that's like the thing where people always ask me such things as, what kind of movies do you like, or what kind of music do you listen to? And it's like, dude, like I mean, I could go from, you know, just being like, I mean, Child's Play's coming out, like the remake and that, and it's like, okay, great, but in the same excitement I have, Toy Story 4's coming out, so like, go figure, like, which is kind of funny because it's like they're both like technically doll movies or like toy movies, but I mean, you get like, another one, Ma looks good too. Okay, cool, awesome, there, like, so you have like multiple options.
That's cool.
And that's what I like.
Okay. Now, one of the, you know, you've been getting a lot of recognition for being participating in Lucha Underground.
Okay.
First of all, how did that even occur? Like, how did you end up becoming part of Lucha Underground?
Well, you know, it was honestly, it was a phone call. It was the most random, out of the blue. Like, who's calling me? I'm not answering phone call. You know, that type of thing.
Get a couple of those.
And they left a message saying, you know, this is who called me? Marty Fortney, who was obviously Lucha Underground's a TV show based on wrestling. So he used the term casting director, and I was kind of like, okay, well, I didn't know it was going to be like a TV show. So I'm sitting there like, okay, well, this promoter don't know terms, you know? Like, it should be fun. But okay. And then I called him back, and we just started talking, and he brought me in for a
screen test?
Why am I
Audition?
blanking on the word? Not an audition.
Screen test? Right, read through?
Yeah, no, it was Yeah, I guess it was just called an audition, I guess, because it wasn't a tryout.
Yeah.
But he called it we'll just come in and have you read some lines. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. So I went in, and it's so funny to look back at what he was asking me to talk about, because at the time he was talking about Dario Cueto, and this was before anybody knew who or what a Dario Cueto was.
Right.
So I'm sitting there like, Dario Cueto? Like, I think I even had to ask him 4 times, how do you say it? Dario Cueto? Is it Cueto or what? Okay, cool, let's try again. So he brought me in for that, and then it was one of those, okay, cool, well, we're going to start filming within the next few months, we'll be in touch. Okay, cool. Now, keep in mind, I've known Marty Elias since I started wrestling. He's always been around, and we became friends. So over the time, I had asked him. I think I even asked him, hey, have you heard about this Lucha Underground show coming out? Do you want me to see if they need a ref? And he was like, I'm already a ref there. I'm like, oh, well, cool. Sorry for wanting to help. I didn't know. But I was just looking out for my buddy,
Yeah.
And, which I believe he was probably the one, he won't admit anything like this, but he was the one who probably was like, hey, take a look at this kid. Here's his phone number, give him a call, and at least look at him.
Yeah.
That type of deal.
Wow, fans, you know what? I really enjoyed that interview. I know you probably enjoyed it too, Elio, but we're going to hear the rest of it next week, the last 20 minutes of it.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to look at the NJPW Super Tournament, the Super Juniors Tournament. My goodness. I've been watching a lot of this. We're going to talk about it when I get back.
All right.
Hello, this is Miguel Cole from the Wrestling POV podcast. Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global is affiliated with the Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Collar and Elbow has t-shirts, hoodies, sunglasses, and more. And the best part, you're helping out your local indie wrestlers. And you're helping out the best wrestling podcast of all, Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global. You don't want to miss out. So save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Oh my goodness!
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to the Wrestling POV podcast.
Okay, folks. Wow. Welcome back. You know what? We are still in the midst of a major tournament going on in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that is the best of Super Juniors. Well, there's also the best of Super Tag, but this is the best of Super Juniors. And, we went over the first couple nights last episode. This episode, I'm just going to talk about some of who's going really hard right now, who's really making a big difference here in this thing. Some of the matches that I would suggest fans to take a look at. On night 4, Will Osprey versus Rocky Romero.
That was a great match. Yes.
On night 5, I would say take a look at Dragon Lee versus Gresham. That was an interesting match. Okay. Night 6, I'm going to go with, I liked El Phantasmo versus Robbie Eagles and Will Osprey versus Yo. 2 really great matches. On night 7, night 7 is really good. That whole card, instead of doing a whole bunch of those tag team matches, they did just tournament matches. So there were 10 matches, both A and B blocks. On there was Yo defeating Rocky Romero was an awesome match. And I would say take a look at El Phantasmo defeating Will Osprey. Now, as we get up now, we're almost at the end of the tournament. There have been a lot of... Well, by this time, it kind of weeds out. There are guys who have been eliminated now. Statistically, they have no chance of making it. There are guys who are definitely so far in the front running that they have got to be the guys that you want to keep your eyes out. So let's talk about the guys who are really at the top of the game right now. Okay? In Block A, definitely Shingo. Shingo has not lost a match.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was just about to ask how he's been doing.
Now, not only has he not lost a match, but he also has not one time in this tournament looked like he was going to lose a match.
Wow.
He has been that dominant in his block. I Another person in that block that I think that had done tremendously well was Sho of Roppongi 3K. He lost to Shingo in the first night, but he had some tremendously good, like, you remembered his matches, you know? He had an unfortunate loss against Kanemaru where, you know, in Japan, New Japan, they give a 20 count.
Yep.
And if one of the wrestlers gets in before the 20 count and the other wrestler doesn't, then that wrestler loses. During this match, Kanemaru and Sho were fighting in the audience. Sho gets knocked down. So Kanemaru races back. The referee's counting. Instead of hopping in and stopping the count, Kanemaru waits. As Sho is running towards the ring, he grabs one of the young boys, throws him into Sho, and then jumps in the ring and gets the 20 count victory.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Kind of sneaky. But yeah, Sho looking good. Taka has had a really poor tournament. Taka Michinoku has not won one match the entire thing. I expected him to maybe score a victory here or there, but not so much.
At least over Tiger Mask.
Well, you know what? Tiger Mask he did for his age and stuff. He did rather well this year. I'm going to give him that. I mean, he had a very good outing here, and he has this kind of like history of starting very strong and then maybe sometimes not so strong, but he did really well. Jonathan Gresham, I expected a lot more in this tournament. He didn't do all that great. Titan, or as they call him, Teton. Teton has done very poorly. Dragon Lee has done okay. He's taken a few pins, which means that he's going to have to defend his belt because he is the current champion, the junior champion.
All right.
He'll have to defend his belt against the guys he lost to. And the one guy who I thought was a very big disappointment in Block A for me was Ishimori. The Bone Soldier, there were days he looked good and days he just looked terrible in there. And he's had a very half-assed tournament here, and it hasn't really done much for him. And Marty Skrull has been, well, he hasn't been really the presence that you thought he might be. Instead, he just seems to be kind of goofing off a lot, not really caring where he gets. He definitely, I don't think, will make it to the finals. In Block B, let's take a look at the 10 guys in there. Ren Narita. Ren Narita has not won any of the matches. He has 0 points. However, he's a young lion.
Yep.
And that's kind of expected, you know? But he has actually done really well. The match with him against Rocky Romero and him against Will Osprey just showed that this guy is probably ready to go on excursion. You know, he looked really good in there. Guy who surprised me, Robbie Eagles. The first time I saw Robbie Eagles, I wasn't too sold on this dude. As this tournament has gone on, he's a very good, interesting, different style of wrestler. I've enjoyed what he's done in there. Yo has really stepped up in the fact that most people would always say when it comes to Sho and Yo, Sho is the better one and Yo is just kind of there. Yo has really risen in this tournament to read really well. Bandito has kind of he's kind of been in the same as Dragon Lee, where some nights he's good, some nights he's not. You know, he hasn't had that strong of a showing here. You know,
right?
Bushi has had weak showing this year. I expect more out of him being a veteran and stuff, but he's taken a lot more pins than wins. Rocky Romero, he's been fun. I want to see more Rocky Romero. He doesn't really do a lot of wrestling in New Japan these days. He does lots of more backstage stuff. He was so fun watching any match he was in this tournament. Taguchi, he seems to be taking it seriously, but you know he's just going to devolve into
his goofiness.
Silliness.
Yeah.
He's had a pretty good tournament. He's only lost one match so far.
Okay.
Dookie. I'm not sure how you say his name, but
Dookie.
Dookie.
I think it's Dookie. I want to say Dookie, but it's Dookie. I think it is.
Dookie's like a piece of poop. I don't think it's Dookie.
Dookie.
He has been very different than most of the wrestlers in there. His whole style is very different, which has made him interesting. It's made him stand out, and that's the point of this. Okay, he hasn't got barely any wins, but he's stood out for his very different look, his very different wrestling style, which is more Mexican than Japanese, which is kind of neat to see in a Japanese wrestler.
Okay.
And Will Osprey. Man, Will Osprey has made everyone look like $1 million. Everyone he's wrestled, his matches. I've probably told you to watch more Will Osprey matches than any other person in this tournament.
That Oz cutter that he does.
Yeah, he does some great moves. And This is probably his swan song in the junior division. Most people know he's moving up to heavyweight, so enjoy him while you can here. And the last guy, of course, we'll talk about is El Phantasmo. Now, El Phantasmo has only one defeat so far.
Oh, this guy.
But he is really doing something very different. He still does all his crazy athletic moves, but he's mixing in some out-and-out straight-off cheating.
Yeah, he's being a heel.
Blows, covering masks.
Jeez. Poke to the eyes. Jeez.
Yeah. He's doing stuff that, Japanese wrestling fans aren't used to. And it's making him be hated. I mean, he's definitely probably the most hated guy right now on the roster.
Oh,
and he's only been wrestling 10 matches, He's done so many dicky things in his matches. I know the guy. I know, he's a great wrestler.
Wait, so
this is a whole neat...
So is he done in this tournament now, or is
No, he's leading Block B.
Okay, no, I just meant are his matches done in this part of the tournament? Okay.
No, there's one last match each for these guys.
Okay.
And this will determine, if Phantasmo wins this match, he pretty much, I think, his next match, he will definitely win Block B, and that'll put him against Shingo in the main event for the tournament.
Oh, that's gonna be a hard one to pick.
Yeah, I'm almost gonna have to go with Shingo. Shingo has looked. Now you know what? I think Shingo has looked dominant. He has looked better than anybody. But I don't think he necessarily even needs to win this tournament. I mean, he is a made guy.
Yeah,
people know him. People love him. He's over with people.
And Phantasmo with all his cheating lately, so I can see him pulling out the victory.
Yeah, you know what? I can see him cheating his way in. And I think El Phantasmo needs it more. He's new. He needs a bit of look at. And I think my prediction, I picked him off the beginning. I picked him or Shingo. I think that he's going to beat Shingo in the finals.
Okay.
If they make the finals. There's still a chance that it could be Will Osprey versus Shingo.
Right.
So if that's the case, I'm going to go Shingo. If it's Will Osprey versus Shingo, I go Shingo. If it's Shingo versus El Phantasmo, I'm going El Phantasmo.
Okay.
So we have the finals to look forward to next week, folks. We'll be reporting on it next week, including a crazy match where we're going to see Juice Robinson putting his United States Championship against John Moxley. So that is going to be really cool to see too.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Now you know what, fans? We had so much stuff to talk about this week. We didn't really have time to talk about MLW, Impact, NXT UK.
Oh, don't get me started with Impact.
RROH. Now, all I can say is, really quickly, NXT UK had a really great Walter versus Pete Dunne rematch with Walter.
Yep, and we saw the formation of a new faction. Yep.
Yep. And over at Impact, well, it was crap as usual, including, my God, a reunion of Tommy Dreamer.
Oh my God.
Sabu and Rob Van Dam. Like, we need to see that again.
Oh my God.
Over in ROH, Kenny King got a surprising victory over Jay Lethal. So let's see where that goes. And MLW, I got to say, would have been, if we talked about the whole show, I found it a very solid, enjoyable show this week. They really pushed Contra.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Contra did so much stuff during this. They attack low key. They laid him out. They attacked the Lucha Brothers and in the back and threw fireballs in their face.
What is it with Contra? Like, I still don't get it.
I still don't get it either. I don't get it. They even went so far as to attack Tom Lawler after he defended the belt. So it was a very heavy Contra. There is somebody I need to put in the book. That appeared on MLW, and we'll talk about it when we get to the book. Okay.
Okay.
I think if we had talked about the shows, I'm pretty sure MLW would have edged out. Although this time NXT UK was very strong this week.
It was actually. They had some pretty good wrestling there, and the backstage stuff was not that bad.
It was tolerable.
I have to say, I'm impressed. James Drake has a voice. Who knew?
Who knew? Like I said, Impact was poor, and ROH, well, it was some good wrestling. So it's that time of the day where we click around and we talk about the Book of Shame.
The book.
The book. What is the book? Well, if there's something that you do as a wrestler or somebody attached to wrestling as an announcer, as a backstage personality, I don't care if you're the ring bell person. If you are such an idiot that you do something stupid, disgusting, idiotic, that just make me and Ilio cringe, well, you make it to the Book of Shame. Open up that Book of Shame and read who we got this so far in there, buddy.
So far we have, in the Book of Shame, we have El Hijo de Los Angeles Park.
Boo. The Christmas tree death guy. Nah, you're stuck in there. El Hijo de Los Angeles Park.
Facade.
Facade. I don't think you'll ever leave there. You were one of the first guys to make me visibly cringe when you walked out. So
that word that begins with F.
Oh, that word stays in there. That is a horrible made-up word. I never want to hear it. It stays.
Jimmy Havoc.
Jimmy Havoc, gross. You gross me out, buddy. All that deathmatch crap. Until I can see some real wrestling without a staple gun and ridiculous finger cutting, you're in there.
Although you did impress us with the way you did to Tommy Dreamer, so that's
there's that. But then he used a staple gun to do it, so
that's true. Okay. Madman Fulton.
Yeah, I haven't even seen him for a while, but just the fact you hang out with OVW or OVE makes you in the book.
Well, maybe he did train in OVW.
Yeah, you might have trained that too.
Miguel Cole.
Oh, that dirty sock rag. Was he a sock? No, whatever he is. Yeah, he stays. You make fun of Canadian money, you're dead to me, Miguel.
Nigel McGuinness.
I don't think you're ever going to come out there. You cannot imagine how disappointed. I used to be such a Nigel McGuinness fan, but you are the worst commentator. You are the Renee Young of NXT UK.
Yo, I don't know if you caught what he said this week.
Which part annoyed you? Because a lot of it crap.
Noam Dar's finisher.
Oh, what did he call it?
The Nova Rolla.
The Nova Rolla? Okay. Sure.
It's just a pump. It's a pump kick to the face. He calls it the Nova Rolla.
The Nova Rolla. Oh my god. All right, that's why you're in there, buddy.
Then we have Sami Callihan.
Ugh. Now you told me that you had maybe an asterisk to add. To
I do have. You know what? There's one asterisk. I'm gonna have to add another one after what I saw this week.
What did you see this week?
Just when I think you can't get more disgusting, you somehow managed to find a way to do it. He ate a snot.
Oh.
That's the only way I can put it.
Oh, goddamn. Yeah, give him 2 asterisks. Yeah. Yuck.
It was just, it was just disgusting. I'm like, okay, that's it. You're in the book.
You can't get any further in the book.
The Chris brothers.
Oh, those jokes. Yeah, they're definitely in the book.
Then we have the Hunt.
Oh, you guys are like cartoon midget men. Yeah, you're in the book.
And then we have Tommy Dreamer.
Well, yeah, Tommy Dreamer's going to be in there until the day he dies.
So that's the Book of Shame. So who do we have this week?
Okay, this week, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I am going to add into this week, on MLW, they have some backstage African-American lady who was doing updates. And dude, she was even as bad as an actor as when they had that doctor on there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she was just like, oh, it's terrible. The Lucha Brothers got a fireball in the face. Oh, man, this isn't wrestling. This is terrible.
That sounded so fake.
I know, and then my wife looks over and she's like, she just happened to be watching something else or do something with Pat. She looks over and she's like, that is the worst actress worst acting I've ever heard.
I can see her just rolling her eyes right now at that bad acting.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go back and get her name so we can officially name her. But yeah, it's that chick from MLW this week, the backstage girl.
Okay.
Do you have anybody?
No, that was mine. Sami Callihan's second asterisk. He's got 2 asterisks next to his name.
All right, so folks, there you have it. The Book of Shame. You're going to be shameful. You're going to be disgusting. You're going to be idiotic. You're going to make us cringe. Well, then you're going to be in the book.
I'm sorry.
You're going to make the book.
I'm sorry. That was the only way I could describe what Sami Callihan did on Impact. It was just gross.
Yeah, well, Sami Callihan is just gross. I mean, not even Mance Warner can save you, buddy. Well, you know what? We had a fun episode this week.
We did. It was fun. Every episode's fun.
Yeah, that is true. You know what? Sorry we didn't get to cover some of our regular shows, but they're still out there, fans. Go look them up. Impact, ROH, MLW. MLW is still winning kind of the race, if there was one, between the four companies that we cover every week for shows.
Yep.
New Japan, that tournament's still on. There's still a couple more matches left. Check it out. There's been some tremendously fun wrestling. And Elio, as always, a pleasure. The interview we had, I hope you enjoy it when you get to hear it.
Okay.
And fans, next week we'll have part 2 of our interview. We'll be back talking about all our regular shows, probably recapping the end of the Super Junior tournament. And my God, if you think the Super Junior tournament was a long coverage, wait till we get to G1 this year.
Oh, that's going to be a long one, man.
It's going to be a long one, but you know
I'm
what?
looking forward to it, though.
I'm just the idiot to stay up every night and watch it in Japanese at 5 in the morning. So, folks, thank you. I want to send a special thank you to our American and Canadian friends, but we also don't forget our friends in Europe, from England, Germany, Ireland, from France. We also thank all of our friends across the world in Australia, and even a special thank you to our Russian friends. A big privyet to all you out there. And we look forward to scouring the world once more and finding and talking about some really darn good wrestling. Elio, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I've been your host this week, the legend T. James Logan. I'm here with my good friend Elio Canella. Elio, say goodnight to the good people.
Good night, fans, and we will talk to you all next week.